Hey, what is going on? Of course, to all of my alternative adult book snobs out there, it is me, Amira Blaze, guys. I have a very special episode today of Book Shade. So, in case you guys do not know, I am a huge music listener. I love listening to music. I love learning about like the lyrics, behind some of my favorite artists. So, sometimes guys, when you're listening to a song, right? Or you're listening to an album or whatnot, and you're like, you know what? This would make an excellent book. So guys, on today's episode of Book Shade here, I have a very special segment that I want to do for you guys. So let's waste no time. Let's get to business. All right, guys. So for this special segment of Book Shade today, I call it simply Music to Book. So what I do, guys, is I find a music album that I really think would represent a great book. Like the lyrics and everything, we'll break it down and talk about it. So you know what we're gonna do, guys? We're gonna go all the way back, okay, to 1999, okay? That is a long time ago, but guys, this artist is still, making music, helping to produce music for others, and to me, doesn't always get the credit that they deserve in regards to this blend of the hip hop and jazz, hip hop and jazz and R&B kind of sound coming together and making it really stand out and be very cohesive. And who I am talking about, guys, is QTip. Yes. Okay, guys, let me tell you something. All right. When I had the chance to listen to this album, I couldn't stop listening to it. I think I have listened to QTip's Amplified at least 5 times because it's so catchy. It's very sexy. And guys, let me tell you something, okay? QTip is definitely one of the reasons why I am very attracted to shorter men, okay? QTip, guys, is living proof that you can be a shorter guy, still be sexy and intelligent, have that natural charisma just like Pitbull, and still be a distinguished gentleman, guys, okay? Let me break down some. These are not even some of the accomplishments that QTip has done in his career, okay? First off, guys, in 2016, QTip was named the artistic director for hip hop culture at the Kennedy Center. The first one to do so. And then on top of that, guys, in 2018, he became an instructor of this, it's a blend of jazz and hip hop course, like a class you could actually take at New York University's Clyde Davis Institute of Recorded Music. So I'm telling you right now, guys, QTip is the complete package. And this is very rare, okay? When it comes to music, you got QTip, you got Michael Jackson, you got Prince, you got these artists that their lyrics tell a story to the point where you feel like you're actually reading a book. And even though, guys, this album is very this is very much a dance record, hip hop record, but he still adds this very classy philosophical element to it that is, it's just, you don't really hear that, guys, especially within the way that the direction that rap music and hip hop music has been going recently. So let's do the album breakdown, okay? So enough of me bragging about his accomplishments, rightfully so, he deserves it. All right, so here's the album breakdown, guys, of Amplified. So you have Wait Up, you have Higher, you have Breathe and Stop, one of my personal favorites. And I also like Higher as well. You have Moving With You, you have Let's Ride, Things You Do, All In featuring Meta Leacock. Then you have Go Hard. You have Do It featuring Jessica Riviera. Then you have my other favorite, which I love, Vibrant Thing. Then you have NT featuring my man Busta Rhymes. Guys, we'll do a separate episode talking about some of my favorite Busta Rhymes albums. Oh my gosh. All of those could be, guys, excellent comic books, let me tell you. And then you have this, and then guys, the 90s really was a great experimental time for hip hop artists to also collaborate with rock and metal artists, and we wouldn't really see this anymore, honestly, until like maybe in the middle half of the 2000s. But then there was this decline. You really didn't see rock and hip-hop artists really working with each other like that, like how they did in the 80s and in the 90s. But then you have the end of time with Jonathan Davis, Korn, lead singer of Korn. Then you have Do It, See It, and Do It, See It, Be It. Okay, so those are all the tracks in the album. So why do I think that Q-Tip's Amplified would make a good book? Okay, so guys, to be honest, the whole concept of this album to me is about, enjoying life, the stages of what it takes to be a man. And then on top of that, going really deeper, in real distinction to talk about what a gentleman is really about, And the way that Q-Tip kind of describes it is like a gentleman is like a guy that has swag, he's good with the ladies, but he still is secure in himself. And this is like one of the very few times, guys, within the rap and hip hop genre that a man is being like sharing these insecurities and transparency. Because sometimes in hip hop, being vulnerable and rap too, having this type of vulnerability, it's a double-edged sword. It's like you can't really be taken seriously because your music is not like hard enough if you do that type of stuff. But that's what makes 90s hip-hop really interesting, guys, is that you have this blend of the harder type of rougher, more guttural hip-hop and rap. But then you had artists like Q-Tip that had this, they were kind of this hybrid. And they could like kind of have a little more, I would say Q-Tip was the type of artist, he has a lot of fluidity. And he can get away with a lot more stuff than I would say some other hip-hop artists that kind of package themselves a certain way. So this is why, guys, it's really important to learn from Q-Tip's example, because here's the story of Q-Tip to really kind of break it down a little bit more. Is Q-Tip used to be a member of this massive group that was legendary, okay, called A Tribe Called Quest, okay? And they're known for songs like Scenario and stuff like that. But what ended up happening, unfortunately, which is something I don't know why this happens in hip hop and rap from time to time, members of the group started to kind of disagree with the chemistry of the band, of the group, and then they ended up breaking up. But then Q-Tip decided to do his own thing, and that's how this album came about. Because Amplified is actually Q-Tip's debut solo album, and it's actually, unfortunately, his most successful album. Even though he's well respected, here's the thing, guys. Being intelligent or being an intelligent artist or calling yourself an intellectual, it's really a double-edged sword in the music industry. Because on one hand, you have the skills that, Q-Tip, he's really good at, putting together experimental beats and stuff. And he's also a great producer. He actually helped with producing the previous album I think it was the album that came out in 2019 for Mary J. Blige. So like when I went back to listen to that album, I could feel the Q-Tip kind of inspirations in there. But once again, guys, like Q-Tip is that example of you can be an artist, but you can also be an intellectual, and you can, give back and contribute in your own unique way to the hip hop culture, which is what he has done and what he continues to do. But like I said, being smart, it is a double-edged sword. Because on one hand, people take intelligence sometimes, especially in regards to this genre, as being very cocky or you're kind of looking down at people, but that's not what Q-Tip aspires with this album. And if I were to think of this, guys, as a story, I would think of it as this, this guy who at first he feels like, he's a little bit insecure. He doesn't know what direction he wants to go in his life. But then he meets someone like Q-Tip, and when you go through like songs, guys, like I would say Do It, Be It, See, or Do It, See It, and Be It. It's literally him giving an autobiographical summary of what happened to him and being involved with A Tribe Called Quest, his house burning down. Q-Tip has had to go through a lot, but when you listen to the song, he's saying, that you need to endure. Regardless of the negative things that you may go through in life, you still have to endure. You still have to make yourself be somebody. Okay, and that's really rare, guys, in these kind of dance hip-hop records to have that type of intellectualism like kind of woven in. And then you have songs like the other song Go Hard, where he's literally talking about the definitions of what it takes to be a man, and sometimes the hypocrisy of being a gentleman. Like you're cool with the ladies, but you can still be tough, but the toughness is coming through intellectualism, and that can be seen as a sexy like trait. I also like how he views women too. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Common. Common is also one of my favorite hip-hop artists as well. Because Common kind of exemplifies this as well, kind of looking at women in a like they're sexy, but it's not like objectifying in a way. Now I will be honest, some songs in Amplified can be constructed to be seen that way, but then you also have to remember this was 1999. It was a completely different time, and it's not like the era that we're living in now, of how like women were treated at the time. But this was still like, I really felt that this album was still refreshing because he had women of all different skin tones and stuff, and we don't really see that a lot in rap and hip-hop anymore. There's a certain look. I love like when I would watch like the Vibrant Thing like music video, which is great, or Breathe and Stop, like you had women of all different skin tones and stuff. I mean, yeah, the body sizes were skinnier. Okay, come on, this is Hollywood, unfortunately. There's a certain look that is acceptable. Now things are changing now, but we still have a long way to go. Okay, but yeah, that's what I was thinking about, like him being this mentor. He's like, he's rapping to guys out there who may feel insecure with themselves, to be like, oh hey, this is how it's like to be a gentleman, and you can still get the ladies, and the ladies will love you and stuff. It kind of reminds me of like LL Cool J's Mama Said Knock You Out album. It does. Or like I would say even a little bit more comparable would be his album Mr. Smith, because it really helped LL Cool J to pretty much remove this cookie cutter image of him. And actually, if you listen to Mr. Smith, it's very raw. It's actually very sexy, which is something that, yeah, he's known for, but it was just a different way of looking at it. So that's what Amplified really reminded me of, like overall. So what were some of my favorite tracks on the album here? Definitely, I love the hits. Okay, Vibrant Thing. I love Breathe and Stop. I love Let's Ride. I really wish he made a music video for Higher, because I think that would be a really cool like music video concept as well. But let me show you guys some of the lyrics here as well. So you have here, like, this is just how cool, like he has this poetry with words. So he's like, we're on a brand new page, Millennium Days, desperation on the streets, gotta find a new way, keep the mics and choke holds, the saga unfolds, Machiavellian approaches executed by the coach. I mean, A calm head in the middle of wartime. People go down just so they could get more shine. Girls wave your flag and surrender your faculty. That's kind of true though. You know, it's like sometimes during conflicting times, you know, people kind of change to this mentality of like dog eat dog. Like, okay, I got more clout, so I'm better than you. So that, I mean, that's deep, you know? And then of course you have now, this is from the song Go Hard. Now picture this man with a whole thing in order, moving through life at will, he ill. He makes his home team proud with his gentleman style, but still no joke, his wisdom and smile. So this to me is kind of like the transition of, you know, turning into a gentleman, you know, is like, you know, you think you have like to the definition of what it means to be a man, you know. You go through life thinking, you know, you gotta make sure, you know, you check everything off your list, keep stuff in order, you know, and then you're also trying to make others that you look up to proud of you for your accomplishments, you know, but you're still, you know, through all the adversity, you still have to have some type of wisdom from the things you've learned in life, and you just gotta keep positive and keep smiling. So, I mean, guys, like, I highly recommend that you check out QTip's Amplified. Not only is it a great dance record, but it's just a good example to me of what 90s, like later 90s hip-hop really stood for. And this would be a great story, guys. Can you imagine a book like based on Amplified? It would be great. I mean, you know, QTip could play this older kind of mentor figure and helping, you know, helping guys out to understand their true potential, you know, and maybe there might be conflicts with the different relationships that they have, but still kind of coming back to this place of, you know, feeling content with being who you are. So I highly recommend this album, guys. Amplified by QTip. I'll have all of the links below so you can learn more about QTip and, you know, check out his music and everything. Apparently, last update on QTip, he's been producing and, you know, doing stuff for other artists, but apparently he's supposed to be coming out with 3 albums all like simultaneously. So I am so excited. Hopefully these albums come out really soon. But I definitely recommend QTip, guys. A Tribe Called Quest as well. It's brilliant, very quirky lyricism, but the instrumentation is fabulous. So if you're into artists like, of course, yeah, Busta Rhymes or Raphael Sadiq and stuff like that, you will love QTip and Amplify. And even some of his later albums are good too, but it's just the concept is a little bit different. This is a great introduction record to QTip stuff because it's not too serious, but it still has this intellectual flair to it. So yeah, you guys let me know if you've listened to QTip's Amplified. It's one of my personal favorite albums. But yeah, that's all I have to share, guys, for today's Music to Books. If there's any albums that you want for me to listen to and you want my commentary on why it would make a great book or a great story, let me know in that vicious comment section below. You can keep in touch with me, guys, following ways. I am on that Twitter and the Instagram at bookshade1. So with that being said, guys, like I always say, remember to embrace the darkness of reading. I'll talk to you guys real soon.